Craig Melvin and Lindsay Czarniak have long been admired as one of America's most grounded and respected media couples. Warm, elegant, genuine, and deeply committed to both their careers and their family, they've built a reputation that feels refreshingly authentic in an industry often defined by surface-level perfection. Their story, from meeting in the newsroom to raising their two beautiful children, has always carried an air of stability and mutual admiration. Lindsay, a celebrated sports anchor and journalist, is known for her intelligence, poise, and unwavering optimism. Craig, one of NBC's most beloved morning personalities, has earned admiration not only for his polished professionalism, but also for his heartfelt honesty and charm. Together, they've always projected an image of harmony, teamwork, and trust. But even the strongest marriages experience private storms, conversations behind closed doors, and moments of emotional turbulence that never reach the cameras. And recently, Lindsay opened up about something that shook her, not in a dramatic, explosive way, but in a deeply emotional one. A moment when she realized Craig was carrying a secret he hadn't been ready to share. According to Lindsay, it started with something subtle. Craig, normally expressive, warm, and easy to read, began to pull back. He wasn't cold, he wasn't distant in a harsh way, but there was a quietness about him that felt unusual. A heaviness in his eyes that couldn't be explained by early morning call times or juggling interviews and reporting. At first, Lindsay chalked it up to exhaustion. Craig often carried the weight of multiple responsibilities: work, family, charitable commitments, and a constant desire to make everyone around him feel supported. She was used to seeing him tired after long stretches of broadcasting during difficult news cycles. But this was different. He wasn't just tired, he was distracted, preoccupied, emotionally unavailable in ways she couldn't ignore. The man who usually shared everything, from funny stories at the studio to concerns about the world, suddenly seemed to be keeping something locked inside. Lindsay described it as a shift in the air. Not loud, not dramatic, but unmistakable. One evening, after the kids were asleep and the house had finally fallen quiet, she found Craig pacing slowly through the living room. His expression was pensive, almost troubled. His hands were clasped behind his back, his shoulders tight, like a man rehearsing a difficult conversation before saying it out loud. When she gently asked if something was wrong, he gave her a soft smile and kissed her forehead, insisting everything was fine. But Lindsay instantly recognized the difference between a real smile and one meant to shield her. She later admitted that this was the moment her intuition fully awakened. She knew Craig better than anyone. She knew when he was excited, frustrated, overwhelmed, or uncertain, and she knew when he was hiding something important, not because he wanted to deceive her, but because he was trying too hard to protect everyone else. Over the next several days, the emotional distance grew. Craig stepped out to take calls he normally would have taken openly. He avoided conversations about his upcoming projects, he excused himself from family discussions, and spent more time than usual alone in his office. Lindsay, who had navigated pressure-filled sports interviews and breaking news events, suddenly found herself navigating an unexpected emotional tension inside her own home. And while she remained patient and calm, she admitted privately that her mind began to wander. Was Craig dealing with a health issue? Was something happening at work? Was he struggling with a personal burden he didn't want to share? The silence weighed on her more than any answer could have. The moment everything changed came one morning at breakfast. Craig sat at the table flipping through a stack of documents, barely touching his food. When Lindsay casually asked if he was okay, he hesitated. Not for a second or two, but long enough that the pause said more than any words could. Lindsay described the room as freezing around her. It was the confirmation her instincts had been whispering. Craig was holding on to something significant. And finally, later that afternoon, he told her the truth. Craig revealed he had been quietly wrestling with a major career decision, one that would affect not only him, but their entire family. He'd been offered an opportunity unlike anything he'd done before. A role that would require months of travel, long stretches away from home, and involvement in emotionally demanding coverage. Something that could elevate his career but disrupt the stable, present life he cherished with Lindsay and their children. He hadn't told her because he didn't want to worry her. He didn't want to place another burden on her shoulders while she juggled her own thriving career. And he didn't want their kids to feel the impact of his internal conflict. Lindsay said the secrecy stung, not because Craig meant to hurt her, but because she realized how much weight he had been carrying alone. Instead of reacting with frustration, she approached him with the quiet strength she's always embodied. She reminded him their marriage was built on honesty, partnership, and shared burdens, not solitary struggle. Their conversation stretched for hours. They talked about priorities, fears, expectations, and the future they wanted to build, together. It wasn't a dramatic confrontation, it was something deeper, a moment of vulnerability that reminded them why their bond had always been so strong. If you found this emotional deep dive into Craig and Lindsay's private moment compelling, make sure you subscribe, tap that notification bell, and join us for more thoughtful stories that explore the truth behind the headlines and behind the hearts of the people we watch every day.